Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael 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 Chai.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to our celebration of the Sabbath. I am Rabbi Barry Silver from Congregation Va-Dor. We started out with Am Yisrael Chai, the Jewish people live. What better day to celebrate the survival of the Jewish people than December 18? 18 is the numerical equivalent for life. We celebrate life on this Shabbat. You know, as we approach the end of 2020, I think it's good to use 2020 hindsight. Let's take a look at the last century, the 20th century. Two of the most brilliant Jews, perhaps who ever lived, Albert Einstein and Carl Sagan. Both were Jewish at birth, but they didn't remain Jewish. They didn't practice Judaism, at least not the Jewish religion. I would maintain that their ideals, their belief system, their values were thoroughly Jewish. But the Jewish religion as practiced in their day didn't hold any interest to them. They didn't believe in a personal God. They obviously knew that God couldn't have written the Bible. Many of the concepts made no sense, and there was no place for them within the celebration of Judaism. How sad that the Jewish religion would lose these two wonderful shining lights. And so I'm pleased to announce that based on their teachings, Albert Einstein and Carl Sagan, we have conceived a form of Judaism that they would be comfortable with. In fact, it was really conceived by them. Albert Einstein spoke about a cosmic religion. What he meant was that Judaism started out tribal, just thinking about themselves. God was the God of the Jewish people. But over time, he said, we evolved, and he conceived of a cosmic religion, which would bring Jews together with people of all religions and even all living things. Carl Sagan similarly wrote Cosmos, which became a bestseller as a book and a movie. Both of them, their vision was cosmic. And so they inspired cosmic Judaism. We stand on their shoulders as we form a type of Judaism, a practice of Judaism that merges Judaism and science and bridges the Jews with all other people and all living things. Join with us in this celebration, but not as passive observers, not as mere spectators. I hope that you will help us to build the Judaism of tomorrow, not just by joining us on Shabbat, which we appreciate, but contact us. Let us know where you think we should be going, what's working, what's not working. Help us build the Judaism of tomorrow. As we do so, we are thrilled that we have to help us celebrate Susan Schultz, who is celebrating her life, the beginning of her life, her birthday, and she will be leading us in lighting the candles. Nancy Beyer will be leading us in the celebration of the Kiddush. And now, let the celebration begin.
Greetings, fellow members of Va-Dor. These lights are only flickering flames, yet flames illuminate our uncertain steps. Flames purify and renew, soften and refine. They brighten and make warm. Flames remind us of Sabbaths long ago and of their beauty that delighted our hearts. May they inspire us to work for the great Sabbath of peace. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher k'deshenu b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat is my favorite time of the week, and especially the services at Va-Dor, wouldn't you all agree? I work full-time, so Friday sunset to Sunday morning, I commit to no work, just loving, caring, sharing, peace, and giving. And this year, it's especially important. Now, back in February, when the chaos of COVID started, I got pretty nervous. So I committed to being strong and counting on myself. And if you live on your own, you know exactly what I mean. So I committed to making a good difference, and that when December arrived, I could feel proud of my accomplishments. And here it is, nearing the end of December, and I am proud of being almost a totally different person. I went from being out most nights and weekends to only filling up my gas tank, and it's filled 1.5 times, and that's since January. I went from traveling around the world to barely leaving my property. But most of all, my mindset has changed with a focus on my why. Why am I here? A focus on my what. What am I doing differently? And my how. How am I making a good difference? So I also ask you, my friends, how are you making a difference? And I ask you, and I suggest that you ask your friends, how are they making a difference, and how are you all preparing for the new norm? Because the reality is, we're not going back to the way things were. It's going to all be different, and we need different skills. So how are you making a difference, and how are you encouraging others? And if you'd like to continue this conversation, just ask Va-Dor for my email, and they will be happy to give it to you. Shabbat Shalom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Good evening, Shabbat Shalom. Almost all Jewish ceremonies and celebration involve wine, and Shabbat is no exception. Ritual doesn't exist for the sake of itself. It exists to accomplish something. We could imagine that our sages simply decided to sweeten our celebrations from births to weddings with wine. However, the wine itself serves as a switch. It sets the time apart and makes it special, holy, and unique. It's not about the wine itself. It's about what the wine has the power to do when we raise our glass with intention. That's the magic of Kiddush. From the Hebrew word for holy, our ability to demarcate time to say that this Friday night, this exact moment, which has never occurred before and never will again, is special. This is the beauty of Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who gives us the fruit of the vine. I'm so happy that we could come together on Zoom, but I'm praying for the day when we can come and be together with our congregation. It's time. I'm really missing all of you, and I think it's time for us to get together again. Shabbat Shalom.
Each morning when we wake up, we have a choice. We can either say, Oi, or we can say wow. How blessed we are to wake up each day, and how blessed we are as Jews, whether we've come to Judaism by the accident of birth or later in life after ascertaining its worth. Whenever we pray, whenever we enter the sanctuary, we sing how good, how blessed we are to be part of this faith family, to be part of the eternal, never-ending story of the Jewish people. Ma Tovu, how good.
Ma Tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma Tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Va'ani erochastecha abo beitecha eshtachaveh el hechodecha v'yiratecha. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Now, Albert Einstein and Carl Sagan would not have approved and would not have believed in saying prayers to supernatural beings. There's absolutely no reason why we can't and why we shouldn't celebrate with prayers not to the supernatural, but to the natural, which is super, and to give thanks and to express awe and wonder at life. That's what we're celebrating, life, as I mentioned at the beginning of the celebration. Sadly, many people have lost their lives over the past year, over 300,000 in the United States and so many throughout the world. But amidst the grief and the suffering and the tragedy, we now have a glimmer of hope. COVID-19 will now be defeated by COVID-18. COVID means respect or honor, and 18 is life. And the Jewish people respect life, and that is why it is that there are so many Jewish scientists, so many Jewish entrepreneurs who are coming up with a way to solve this crisis. And so it is not a coincidence that Pfizer is led by many Jewish people, that the first vaccine used in the United States on Sandra Lindsay, an African American, was used at the Long Island Jewish Medical Center with a Jewish star prominently displayed. We give thanks to the medical people who are working to save lives, going through tremendous ordeal and self-sacrifice, many of them succumbing to the virus themselves. We give thanks. And to the Jewish values that cherishes life. And now we're going to have some prayers, all of which are a celebration of life, and none of which require you to ignore your common sense and your reasoning power in order to celebrate. If you are 30 years old, thank a scientist. The average lifespan a few 100,000 years ago was probably 20. If you're over 40 years old and you have some quality of life and could get out and exercise and enjoy your life, you are lucky. And that is because of the intellectual skills of so many people who have devoted their lives. Let us give thanks to them, to our first responders, and to the hope from this new vaccine as we enter into now some of our traditional prayers understood in perhaps non-traditional ways.
Adonai HaMevorach. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Adonai, Shifratai Tiftach, Ufia Gitehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו, be'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen. Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham, be'ezrat Sarah.
I saw a comic the other day, showed a woman saying, you know, because of this pandemic, I've been spending all my time at home. And with this free time, my house is now more organized than ever. And now also with this free time, I'm getting the ability to exercise. I'm in better shape than I've ever been. I also am able to spend more time with my family, getting to know them so well, and we spend many intimate moments together. I can't wait for the pandemic to end. And so it seems kind of paradoxical. There is tremendous suffering going on, but there's also times that we have to ourselves of contemplation. I hope as we enter into a few moments of silent meditation, we will recognize the great benefit of taking some time to reflect and to remember how fortunate we are to have our blessings, even though in some ways, in many ways perhaps, we are suffering. I hope that as we enter into these moments of silent meditation, we will count our blessings and figure out when we emerge from this pandemic, how will we build back better? What will we do to make our lives better? What will we learn from this experience? Let us use this time of reflection, a moment here, as a prelude to many moments of reflection, of ways that we can improve our lives and rejoice in our blessings.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen.
Tov, Tov, Tov Lehodot, Tov Lehodot Adonai. Tov, Tov, Tov Lehodot, Tov Lehodot Adonai. Ulezamer le'shimcha elyon, le'shimcha elyon. Ulezamer, ulezamer le'shimcha elyon. Tov, 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 Tov Lehodot, Tov Lehodot Adonai. Tov, Tov, Tov Lehodot, Tov Lehodot Adonai.
And now it's time for the pièce de résistance, the reading of the Torah. Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach, Baruch Adonai hamavorach leolam vaed, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Our Torah reading this Shabbat is from the book of Genesis, chapter 41. It tells the exciting, intriguing saga of Joseph. Vayishlach Paro v'yikra et Yosef. And after Pharaoh heard about Joseph's prodigious powers for interpreting dreams, he called for Joseph. He summoned him. Vayiritzehu min habor v'yigaleach v'yichalef simalotav. And they called Joseph from out of the dungeon. And they gave him a shave and a haircut, put on some nice clothes, and brought him before Pharaoh. Vayavo el Paro v'yomer Paro el Yosef. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, Chalom chalamti ufeter en. I had a dream, but there's nobody who knows how to interpret it. Oto ve'ani shamati alecha lemor tishma chalom lefater oto. I've heard it said of you that your powers are so great that if you just hear a dream instantly, you're able to interpret it. V'ya'an Yosef et Paro lemor. Joseph answered Pharaoh as follows: Biladi Elohim ya'aneh et shalom Paro. It is not me, but God who will see to the welfare of Pharaoh and interpret his dream. V'yidaber Paro el Yosef. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, B'chalumi hineni omed al sfat hayor v'hine min hayor olot sheva parot briot basar v'yafot to'ar. Behold, in my dream there are 7 cows, sturdy, strong, stalwart, healthy cows. V'tariena be'echo, and they are grazing in the marshland. V'hine sheva parot acharot olot acharena, and 7 cows came behind them. Dolot v'ra'ot to'ar me'od v'rakot basar. And these are sickly, ugly, emaciated cows. Lo ra'iti kahena b'chol eretz Mitzrayim. So ugly and scrawny are these cows, I've never seen anything like them in all of Egypt. L'ra v'to'achelna ha'parot harakot v'hara'ot et sheva ha'parot harishonot ha'briot. And these 7 scrawny cows consumed the 7 healthy cows. V'tavena el karbana v'lo noda ki ba'u el karbana. But still, they were so scrawny that even after they ate these healthy cows, you couldn't even tell a difference. U'mir'ena rak asher b'tchila v'ekatz. And then my dream ended, and I woke up. Ve'ere b'chalomi v'hine shava shebalim olot b'kana achad. And then I had another dream in rapid succession. There were 7 stalks of grain on one shaft. Mil'ot tovot v'hine shava shebalim sim'ot tzedakot tzedafot kit'im tzimachot acharehem. And after these 7 healthy stalks were 7 scrawny stalks that came in their aftermath. V'tivalena hashebalim hadakot es sheva hashebalim hatovot. And again, the 7 scrawny stalks ate the 7 healthy stalks. V'omar al hatarichim v'en magid li. And I described these dreams to my soothsayers, to my magicians. They couldn't make heads or tail of it. Vayomer Yosef el Paro. Joseph said to Pharaoh, Chalom Paro echad. Pharaoh's dream is really one dream. Hu et asher ha'elohim oseh hagid leFaro shevat parot hatovot sheva shanim hine v'sheva shebalim hatovot sheva shanim. It's one dream. The 7 healthy cows and the 7 healthy stalks, they're representing 7 good years. Hine chalom echad hu v'sheva ha'parot ha'rakot ha'ra'ot ha'olot acharena sheva shanim Hine hashava hashabetim harakot tzedafot hakidim v'hiyu sheva shanei ra'av. The 7 scrawny cows, the 7 scrawny stalks of wheat, they represent 7 lean years of famine. Hadavar asher dibarti el paro asher Elohim oseh hara'a et paro hine sheva shanim ba'ot sava gadol b'chol eretz Mitzrayim. Behold, you have had it twice, this dream, because God is deadly serious and is coming upon you soon. There are about to be 7 good years of good harvest. V'kamo shava shanei ra'av acharena. And that will be followed by 7 years of drought and famine. V'nishkach kol hashava ba'oretz Mitzrayim v'kila hara'av et ha'aretz. These 7 years of famine will be so horrific that they will make you completely forget about the 7 good years that you had. V'lo yoda hasava ba'aretz. Nobody will even remember these 7 good years. Mipnei hara'av, because of the famine. Acharei chen ki kaved hu me'od va'al hashanot v'hachalom el paro pa'amayim ki nachon hadavar me'im Elohim. Yes, twice you had this dream. 2 different things representing the same thing, because that means it is a certainty, umimahir, and it is happening very soon. La'asoto ha'Elohim, God will do it instantly. Va'ata yir'a paro ish navon v'chacham v'yishtehu al eretz Mitzrayim ya'aseh paro v'yikod pikidim al eretz v'chimesh et eretz Mitzrayim. Now Pharaoh must find someone who is wise and discerning, and overseers, and organize Egypt under these overseers. B'sheva shanei hasava ukibtzu et kol ochel hashanim hatovot haba'ot ha'ele v'yitzbohu bal tachat yad paro. And therefore, let Pharaoh gather all the food during the good years and put them in cities where they can be kept and stored, and where they can be for a reserve during the lean years. Be'arim v'shamaru, yes, guard them there in these store cities. And these store cities will be a reserve for Egypt, for the 7 years of famine, which are coming to the land of Egypt. This plan seemed like a good one to Pharaoh and to his servants. Vayomer Paro el avadav, hanimsach hazeh ish asher ruach Elohim bo, vayomer Paro el Yosef, acharei hodia Elohim otcha et kol zot, en navon v'chacham kamocha. And Pharaoh said to his servants, can we ever find someone as wise and discerning as Joseph, in who God himself has placed wisdom and the ability to discern dreams? Ata tihiel al beti. Now you shall be over my house. V'al picha yishek kulami. And upon your word shall all Egypt bend the knee. V'rak hakiseh egdal mimeka. Only the throne will I keep above you. V'yomer Paro el Yosef, ra'eh natati otcha el kol eretz Mitzrayim. Behold, I am placing at your disposal all of Egypt. V'yisa Paro et tavato me'al yado. This word taba'ato, you might remember from hare at, but taba'at zo. Taba'at is the ring that we use on a wedding day, but he's talking about taba'ato. Pharaoh takes the ring off of his finger, vayiten ota al yad Yosef, and he places it on the yad, or the hand, of Joseph. V'yilbesh oto b'gdei v'yasem ribed hazahav, and he gives him fine linens and a beautiful gold sash to wear around his neck. Al tzva'o, yes, upon his neck. V'yokav oto b'merkevet ha'mishneh asher lo. And he puts Joseph in a chariot reserved for his second in command. V'yichrehu lifanav abarek. And they shouted as he approached, abarek. That's a term that scholars don't really know exactly what it means. I believe it's related to the Arabic word barak, which means blessed, or baruch in Hebrew, abarek. It means here is the blessed one. Unetonoto al kol eretz Mitzrayim. And he placed him upon all the land of Egypt. Vayomer Paro el Yosef. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, Ani Paro ubiladecha lo yahum ish et yado ve'et chagalo. I am Pharaoh, but under your command, not one Egyptian will even lift a finger or raise his foot without your say-so. B'chol eretz Mitzrayim, in all the land of Egypt. Vayikra Paro Shem Yosef Sifanat Pa'aneach. And he called Joseph an Egyptian name, Sifanat Pa'aneach. Vayiten lo et Asenat bat Potiphara. And he gave Joseph Asenat, the daughter of Potiphara, Kohen On Liisha. Kohen is the same as Kohen, the priest of On. He gave her to Joseph as his wife. The blessing after the Torah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu tuchat emet, v'chai olam nata bitochenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten hatucha. Amen. Leah was speaking with her husband, Seymour, and saying, you know, you ought to go visit the psychic that I go to. She's really amazing. She's got great powers. She could even help you to communicate with the dead. Seymour wasn't buying. He said, that's ridiculous. She said, no, please, give it a try. So he said, all right, I'll go with you. So they go. And they had a beautiful seance. And there was Sadie the psychic. Lower the lights. Beautiful music, soft music in the background. Incense. Everyone held hands. And Sadie said, I can feel ourselves in communion now with the grandfather of Seymour. Seymour, speak to him. And he started conversing with him. He said, how are you doing out there? He said, well, I'm having a great time here with Bubba. Really? What's it like there? Oh, the streets are paved with gold. You can have everything you want. It's an amazing thing. How do you spend your day? Any way I want. It's all beautiful. Seymour said, I just have one more question for you, Zeta. When did you learn to speak English? My friends, we should not be fooled and suckered by people who tell us that they're in commune with some kind of magic forces, supernatural beings, communication with the dead. We've heard all that before. Religious charlatans who tell you that God wrote my Bible, I'm in touch with God, follow my way, and you'll go to heaven. And if you don't, beware, you will go to hell. It's all nonsense. Even in the Jewish fold, we have it. It's called Orthodox Judaism, who believes that God wrote the Torah. And in the Torah is everything that you need to know. As I mentioned, this type of magical wishful thinking doesn't hold the interest of intellectuals like an Einstein or a Carl Sagan. And so we need to have a different type of Judaism that we can be inspired by, but that does not insult our intelligence. Now, don't get me wrong. I love fantasy as much as the next guy. I love to watch a good episode of Star Trek. I could watch it over and over again, like The Wizard of Oz, Bewitched, Casablanca. I mean, these things are wonderful. But I know that this is fiction. And I have the ability to separate fact from fiction. The problem with many people who are religious is that whether it's being fooled by Christian charlatans or Muslim or Jewish or whatever, they've lost the ability to separate fact from fiction, and then they are no longer free. We Jews don't like to think of ourselves as part of a flock. You know what happens to a flock? What does the shepherd do? He fleeces the flock before he kills them. We don't want to be fleeced. So we celebrate the mind as well as the spirit. You know, we're celebrating now freedom. With Hanukkah coming to an end, what comes next? Many people, they celebrate freedom, but then they ask, what comes next? I would suggest to you that if we believe things that are nonsensical and somebody's telling us what to believe, whether it's a politician who's trying to sell us fake news, or whether it's a religious charlatan, we are not free. We are not living our own life. We are living a lie. So therefore, we need to seek truth. Look at the United States. We're the land of the free. But we almost had the loss of our freedom by people who are challenging democracy itself. We have Meshuggah vigilantes in Michigan who are saying that they're going to storm the Capitol. We have people who don't even believe in a transition to a new government. This is terrible. Look at Hanukkah. Hanukkah celebrates freedom. What happened afterwards? Within 100 years, they were fighting with each other and inviting Rome to come in. They invited the end of their freedom with the Roman occupation. What happens on Shabbat? We have beautiful music and prayers. And what happens afterwards? What do we do next? Do we appreciate our freedom? What happened with the Jews when they came out of Egypt? They wandered in the wilderness for 40 years, worshiping a golden calf because they didn't know what to do with their freedom. So now that Hanukkah is over, let us not just celebrate freedom, let us celebrate the aftermath. Let us use our freedom wisely. Let us use it in a way that's going to be responsible. And so now we have the end of this pandemic, hopefully within sight. We have a new administration. Let us use our freedom responsibly. But if we believe in a rational or an inspirational form of Judaism, does that mean we're killjoys? That we can't believe anything wondrous? Absolutely not. If you look at the world of science and reason, you'll see wondrous, ineffable things, the numinous, that can capture our imagination. But how does that translate into the Torah reading? This Shabbat, we read about Joseph. Joseph allegedly had the ability to predict the future with dreams. Are there really people who can do that? The fundamentalists will tell you absolutely. God knows everything, so he could absolutely tell Joseph what's going to happen in the future and give him the power to interpret dreams. But rational Jews, cosmic Jews, know better. As my father used to say, this story never happened, but it is all true. How could that be? There was no person like Joseph who actually did the things described in this story. However, we do believe that there were Semites and Jewish people who came into Egypt during the Pharaonic period and held positions of power. The Hyksos invasions, we believe, also brought Semites with them. So it is entirely possible that even though every detail of the story isn't true, that there were Jewish people who rose to the highest echelons of Egyptian power. What do we learn from this story? Why do I say it's true even though it didn't happen? Because in every society where Jews have lived, with their intelligence, with their ingenuity, with their Jewish values, they have improved the society and helped save them from disaster as Joseph saved Egypt. And so we see in America, the Jewish people are bringing great blessings. We see in every country where the Jews have lived and been free, they've made the country great. And every country that persecutes Jews has always suffered. That is why the Torah does say, those who bless the Jews will be blessed, and those who curse the Jews will be cursed. And so many times we have seen Jews help make this country, or any country, great. And so I say to all of my Jewish friends out there, and my non-Jewish friends, let us use our freedom wisely. As we approach the end in sight of the pandemic, as we approach a new administration, let us not just say, we're free, isn't that wonderful? But let us do what we can to use the freedom to make this country better, to restore democracy, to help people. Right now, our country is going through extremely serious difficulties. Many, many millions of people have lost their jobs. Many millions of people have lost their homes. Millions of people have lost access to food. If we have a house, if we have our families, if we have enough to eat, let us not only rejoice with our blessings, but share with others and help all of those people in need. And let us use our freedom to make 2021 the best year ever. Let us use 2020 hindsight to come up with a new form of religion and perhaps a reinvigoration of our democracy infused with the wonders and the knowledge of science. Let us join science and government, science and religion, and common sense in our own lives in order to build back better and make our lives, our country and this world, better than it's ever been before. Shabbat Shalom.
What do I think?
It's a match. What? You agree?
I agree.
You've made me a happy man.
Good.
Let's drink on it.
Why not? To you.
No, my friend. To you.
To the both of us.
To our agreement.
Our agreement.
To our prosperity.
Our good health and happiness.
And most important,
to life, to life.
L'chaim.
L'chaim, l'chaim.
To life.
Here's to the father I've tried to be.
Here's to your pride to be.
Drink l'chaim to life, to life. L'chaim. L'chaim, l'chaim to life.
Life has a way of confusing us, blessing and bruising us.
Drink l'chaim to life.
God would like us to be joyful, even though our hearts lie panting on the floor.
How much more can we be joyful
When there's really something to be joyful for.
To life, l'chaim.
to title
My daughter,
My wife, it gives you something to think about,
something to drink about?
Drink l'chaim.
To life, to raise a wolf, to tevye.
To title my daughter, my wife.
Futures be pleasant ones, not like our present ones. Drink l'chaim to life,
l'chaim. L'chaim, l'chaim, to life.
It takes a wedding to make us say, let's live another day. Drink l'chaim to life.
We'll raise a glass and sip a drop of schnapps in honor of the great good luck that favors you. We know that when good fortune favors two, such men it stands to reason we deserve it too.
To life and all good fortune.
Be happy, be healthy, long life.
And if our good fortune never comes, here's to whatever comes. Drink l'chaim to life.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה לנוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Throughout this Shabbat celebration, I've been indicating that this is really a celebration of life. And I hope you don't get tired of me saying it, but the Kaddish also, believe it or not, is a celebration of life, even though it refers to people who are no longer among the living. We Jews are a little peculiar. When we lose someone precious, we give thanks. We give thanks to the creative powers at work in this world, this universe, that allow life to continue and that to give us the ability to recall what was beautiful and wonderful in their lives and to reflect the nobility of their lives in our own. That's why the Kaddish doesn't mention the word death at all. It has words giving praise to the splendor of the creative power that generates life. Yisgadal, related to the word gadol, it's great. Yisgadash, related to kadosh, it's holy. Yisbarach, related to the word baruch or bracha, it's blessed. Yispoach, it's awesome. Yishadar, it's wondrous. Yishalal, it's praised. Yishaleh, it is on high. Oseh Shalom b'mromav, it ends, saying that we hope that the power to bring peace to the earth will also bring peace to all of us. And we say Va'al kol Yisrael, or an updated version, Va'al kol tevel, to all living things. Rather than waiting around for a supernatural power to bring peace to earth, in cosmic Judaism, we believe each one of us is responsible for reflecting that godlike ability to bring peace to the world. As we reflect on the Kaddish, let us use the influence and the beauty of the lives of our loved ones in order to inspire us to be instrumental in this sacred mission to bring peace to this world as we now read the Kaddish. Yiskadal v'yiskadash shemei Rabba, v'yomad yivrach ruseh v'yamlich ma'chuseh, v'chayachon v'yomechon, uv'chayedu chol beis Yisrael, v'agala v'yizman, kari v'yimru amen. Yehi shemei Rabba mivorach l'olam u'lemei u'lemaya, yisborach v'yistabach v'yisboar v'yishomam v'yisnaseh, v'yisadar v'yisalev v'yisalal shemei r'kedusha b'richu, le'elam inko b'rchasa v'shirasa, tush b'chasa v'nechamasa, da'amiron b'yalma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'yimhomav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, v'yakol yoshvei tevel, v'yimru amen.
A very happy Shabbat to one and all. We hope that your Hanukkah was delightful. Thank you to Rabbi Barry Silver, Rose Lopater, Andrew Susman, and Arnie Pickholtz for these creative and enjoyable Shabbat services. We had a wonderful Havdalah and Hanukkah celebration last Saturday evening and a fabulous first cooking class on Sunday afternoon. A special thanks to Andy Susman and Suzanne Burstein for these special programs. We're looking forward to our Shabbat morning service on Saturday, December 26th at 10:30 a.m., live on Zoom with Andy Susman and his wonderful music and Rabbi Barry Silver. This will be a more traditional Shabbat service filled with lovely music and prayer, and we hope you as well. Tomorrow evening, we'll have our Jewish film night at 7 p.m. on Zoom with a wonderful and memorable film, Yentl, with Barbara Streisand. Enjoy our weekly chats with two rabbis each Tuesday evening at 7 p.m., where the topics are the upcoming Shabbat Torah Parsha and any other relevant current events. Rabbi Kahn and Rabbi Barry are so insightful and interesting. You won't want to miss it. Jeff Kasdan will present a wonderful program for us on Sunday afternoon, December 27th at 4 p.m., called The Last of the Romanov Tsars and Their Fabulous Fabergé Eggs. You won't want to miss this one either. These programs are all on Zoom, and you can obtain their links from our voice email newsletters and our ladorvador.org website. Join in on the fun with Lador Va-Dor. I quote from the video earlier in the service. You can wake up and say, oi, or you can say, wow. Each day is special. And at Lador Va-Dor, we offer a very special and appealing kind of Judaism, one where all are welcome, a Judaism that honors traditions, respects science, and celebrates spirituality. This special Judaism is very unique, and we like to call it inspirational Judaism. Join with us and help us to build this special Judaism of tomorrow today. If you like what you've seen, please share it with your friends, family, and neighbors. Following our Shabbat, we enjoy a live Zoom Oneg Shabbat each Friday evening. Please join us for our Zoom and Schmooze tonight at 8:30 p.m. and share some of your favorite Shabbat memories or traditions with us. Find out more about us on our website, ladorvador.org, our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and our email voice newsletters. Don't miss any of what we have to offer. We wish you a splendid Shabbat and a wonderful weekend. Shabbat Shalom with love from Lador Va-Dor.
May you be blessed and preserved throughout this pandemic and emerge on the other side bigger, stronger, healthier than before. May the light of love shine upon you, and may you be a transmitter of this light to others always. Inspired by the beautiful words and teachings and values of our people, may you be lifted up to new heights of achievement, especially the most important achievement of all, to help make this world a more beautiful, a more peaceful, and a more harmonious place. Amen.
יברכך אדוני וישמרך. יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונקה. יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום. וישם לך שלום.
Adom Olam Hashem Olach B'Terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'es Nasal B'Chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra. Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Shemo Nikra. V'yacharei Kichlos HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora V'hu Aya V'hu Hoveh V'hu Yiyeh B'Sifara. V'hu yeh b'sifara, b'sifara. Oh, Adon Olam, oh, Adon Olam. Oh, Adon Olam, oh, Adon Olam, oh, Adon Olam. V'hu echad v'yein sheni lahamshir lo lahachbira b'li reishis b'li sachlis v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra v'hamisra v'hu eli v'chai go'ali v'tzur chevli b'yesara v'hu nisi humanos li minas kosi b'yom ekra. Naskosi b'yom ekra, b'yom ekra. Oh, Adon Olam, oh, Adon Olam. Oh, Adon Olam, oh, Adon Olam. Yado akir ruchi v'yesi shan v'yayira v'yesi shan v'yayira. Yimruchi gevi asi Hashem li v'lo ira, Hashem li v'lo ira, v'lo ira. Adon Olam Hashem olach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'es nasal b'chefzo kol azai melech shemo nikra. Azai melech shemo nikra. Azai melech shemo nikra. Azai melech shemo nikra. Shemo nikra.